I'm just curious. By show of hands, raise your hand if you heard a different account. Wow, just a few of you. I think that you need to understand, how many of us know that a half-truth is a whole lie? What if I gave you a little more information? What if I told you that in Israel, in the Gaza Strip, there is much violence? And the controlling group there, by the way, not controlling by election, but controlling by military takeover, is an organization called Hamas. And Hamas has made it emphatically clear that the land of Israel and the Jewish people should be put to death. And there shouldn't be a state of Israel. What if I told you that? Hypothetically. Now, I'm not saying that everyone in the Gaza Strip is a terrorist, because that is inaccurate. But I'm saying that there is a terrorist stronghold in Gaza, and the leaders of this group want Israel dead completely for extreme religious reasons. Okay? So, in Gaza, there is this violence and this propensity towards violence. Is there poverty there? Absolutely. Is there violence here? Is there imminent threat not only to the Palestinian peoples, but in particular to Israel in the Gaza Strip? Absolutely. And what if I told you that Israel, as a sovereign nation, very much like the United States, has things like customs? What are customs for? Customs are to protect what comes in your land. Are you with me? Stay with me, because I'm about to go to the Bible in just a second, but I want you to understand something. Does every nation have a right to protect themselves through customs? Not necessarily through military action, just to say, before I let you into my country, I want to check to make certain that what you say is humanitarian aid is humanitarian aid. Does any country have a right to do that? Okay. So what if I told you that in Israel, there is a naval blockade that is a part of their regular security? Very much like you have the TSA at the airports, who after 9/11, matter of fact, 9/11 changed the whole way that we allow things to enter in and out, both domestically and internationally. And you don't like being at the airport for a whole long time, but you sure like it better than a bomb up your butt, don't you? I'm sorry, I have a tendency to be crass. Are you hearing what I'm saying? And this is no indictment on any people. I'm talking about the reality of the world that we live in now. Hate is out there. And it's not just from, international terrorists. We got domestic terrorists too, and that's a whole nother story. So what if, as a part of Israel's normal operations of custom, they have a naval blockade in a certain area where things are the most volatile? It's almost like having metal detectors in schools where the Crips and the Bloods hang out. You don't like it, but I bet you there's some kids in that school like, I thank God you got metal detectors. That way T-Bone and Pookie won't be busting the cap up in here. They might be talking, I don't like these metal detectors, and I don't like them, but they like, thank God for these metal detectors. I was scared yesterday. And what if I told you that Israel, well before the flotilla of humanitarian aid left the ports of Turkey, what if I told you that Israel was well aware of it and contacted Turkey to inform them of this potential mishap that was getting ready to happen on the waters, and even engaged Turkey and told them what the normal procedure is? The normal procedure is to bring your ships into the port of Ashdod like everybody else. At the port of Ashdod, there will be an inspection to make certain that there are no weapons, just like any other country in the world has. And once this your goods are inspected, they will be released to go into Gaza just like the 15,000 tons a week of humanitarian aid enters into Gaza. And incidentally, there was only 10,000 tons on the 6 ships that were coming. Not even 2/3 of what regularly gets into Gaza on a weekly basis. You didn't know that, probably. So Israel reaches out. What if I told you that Israel reaches out to not only the Turkish government, but also to the organizers of the protesters, and one of them flat out said, this is not a humanitarian effort, this is about defying the Israeli blockade, the Israeli security blockade. Okay? So, they come anyway. After diplomatic dialogue with the country that is approving this, perhaps under pressure by the majority of the religion in that state, which just so happens to be Muslim, just so happens to be. That's not a knock or a slam on any of that. I'm just saying, I'm giving you the facts here. Turkey is a Muslim state. Doesn't have the Sharia law yet, but after this it might. So 6 ships against the will of a sovereign nation as it relates to how they allow things to come in and out. Stay with me. This is important. You need to know this because it's about to heat up. It's heating up and it's about to get hotter. And it affects you as a believer. It does. And I'll explain it. 6 ships come. Israel knew they were coming well in advance. So Israel sends helicopters with loudspeakers. Not guns right away, but loudspeakers into international waters. I'll touch on that in just a moment. You in this flotilla, you are getting ready to enter into an illegal waterway for you. It'll be illegal. We will escort you to the port of Ashdod in Israel. There, your humanitarian aid will be inspected and check to make certain that we're not empowering any terrorists that we know are in the Gaza Strip, and your aid will be able to come through. There were 6 ships. 5 of them said, right on, sounds good to me, and were escorted to Ashdod. And their humanitarian aid is probably in Gaza right now. But one ship had a different agenda. And on this particular ship, and you can see this on YouTube, when they failed to yield to Israel's command to go to the port, to the legal system, Israel sent a commando or 2 down into the ship to talk to them face to face. Watch it on YouTube. As they come down, as the commandos come down the ship, the peaceful humanitarian aid givers grab them and begin to beat them and stab them and throw little cocktail fire things at them and pulled them down off the ropes, and threw one, you can see all of this on YouTube, I'm not making it up, and threw one down to the lower deck. And as a consequence, on that one ship, not on the 5 others that were peacefully escorted to Ashdod, but on that one ship, unfortunately, 9 peaceful protesters with knives and saws and clubs and metal rods were killed, unfortunately. It's horrible. And most of them were very young, teenagers, with suicide notes found there, jihadist suicide notes. And 6 Israeli commandos wounded. 1 seriously is in critical condition right now. And what if the 9 deaths were a response to a mob? Like we'll see, well, I won't show you, but go to YouTube. You'll see on the video, a mob mobbing these soldiers.